Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We are on November the 9th, 1985, almost at the end of 1985, and interesting that there are some new people here, one of which is a major note to wrestling history, and the other of which, well, a couple of enhancement talents that are new. Um, Billy Ash, gentleman I don't know much about, versus Rick McCord. McCord's been around as an enhancement talent for a little bit here. Nothing really notable in the match. Obviously, McCord shows a lot of athletic promise. Not sure how long he's here. I know he's here through the end of the year because that's what I'm up to in my viewing. And Ash does go for more of a ground and pound, or not ground and pound, but takedown sort of thing. We do see, the match break down into headlocks, hammerlocks, and the like, with McCord getting I wouldn't say decided advantage, but certainly an advantage. Um, some shove offs there and the like, and it's kind of there. It's kind of a really basic match, simple opening card. Not really sure the point of the match in terms of it doesn't really serve to get either guy over, and there's no real direction for either career through the match. I assume since McCord is around longer that he is more the focus, but basically goes back to such basic maneuvers, headlocks, head scissors, and the like. It's a major thing. Anyway, shoulder tackle there, and some 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 knees, drops the knees, and one, two, and a very very basic thing there. Uh, Shots to the midsection and a hard right hand from McCord. Ash does come back out of nowhere with kind of I guess I'd say running uppercut or Shocker's uppercut. Back to the very basic side headlocks, and then the rabbit punches to the top of the head. And then we do see McCord get a victory. Doesn't happen very quickly. I mean, they go almost 15 minutes or so. Actually, I'm sorry, Ash gets the victory with almost a necktie type maneuver. Ash does get the victory out of nowhere. We do see the introduction of probably one of the most meaningful managers of the 90s, certainly, and early 2000s. Percival Pringle III, you would probably know him better as Paul Bearer, because that's where he spent the majority of his career. Introduced here in World Class. I'm sure he's been on television in other areas. Talks about working hard, talks about putting together a stable, talks about building a dynasty, talks about Rick Rude being one of the best in the area, and there's talk of Rude using the Rude Awakening. The Rude Awakening at this point is a DDT, later becomes a neck breaker, but at this point, modified DDT. Mike Reed versus Rick Rude is up next. Percy Pringle at ringside with him there. Rude, really, it looks like $1,000,000 with the noted sequin robe. Rude, obviously, with the posing and the gesturing and all of that. Everything that you would expect the Rick Rude character to do, he does. Offensive maneuver, including tossing his opponent away. Super big deal, and Rude manages to toss his opponent into the air. A lot of good selling by Reed. Reed, gets military press slammed. Rude shows such power. Percy Pringle, actually thin for Pringle, probably about 250 pounds, but over half the size of what he would be later as Paul Bearer. There are points where he's over 500 pounds. Of course, he had to get the gastric bypass surgery at a later point. Nice vertical suplex by Rude. Rude in hot purple tights, so he's certainly a major deal there. And hard shots, and again, shots to the back of the neck. And you see Rude really breaking down the style of the match, the impetus of the match. He does get the victory, as is to be expected. I mean, this match intended to be a Rick Rude focal point, Rick Rude focus match. Um, Rude does go on to be quite successful very quickly in these parts, but Percy Pringle, a contributing factor to that, of course, as is Rude's own natural ability. Rude manages to hit another vertical suplex and gets the almost a victory off that, but manages to come up. Rude does have a thing where he registers moves but doesn't sell all the way, and I think that's valuable in enhancement matches. The art form of registering versus selling, I think, is a lost art. Pringle on the outside, managing to talk a good bit to the fans, and he's not backing down on his trash talking. Clothesline, almost a hook style by Rude. Rude again in the area once before, and pulls the man up right before the what would be the finish of the match. Rude then hits a series of knees, and then the DDT finish, known as the Rude Awakening. And obviously, the Rude Awakening would evolve over time, but at this point, a DDT. We move to the semi-main event. Chris Adams in a silver and black mask versus Kevin Von Erich. Obviously, I had mentioned before in the previous episode, the feud had not ended, but maybe the intensity of it will slow down a little bit now. And the brawl starts almost immediately between the two. Kevin is obviously trying to get the mask off. Throughout the match, does not succeed in doing so, but tries nonetheless. A couple of times, Kevin sends Chris scampering to the outside in an effort to get him off his game, so to speak. Full body scissors, among other things, sit out leg scissors and the like. And again, the nervousness about the mask coming off, revealing the bald head, is there. Never really understood if they've seen you bald in the middle of the ring. I mean, I can see if they do it from backstage, the haircut. But if the fans have seen you bald, what's the big deal about the mask? Never really understood that. Anyway, top rope knee drop after slamming him off the top by Von Erich. Von Erich goes for the claw. Always wondered, is it hard to get a claw to be effective through a mask? Kayfabe questions. Anyway, kick to the midsection after a duck of a backdrop, and we see an inside cradle win for Adams. Adams is successful. We do see the one-man gang up next in the main event. Gang is by himself. No Gary Hart for this time for the gang. These guys have about 10 minutes, a little bit less, and obviously Kerry and the gang have feuded quite a while. Kerry basically says that he admires the gang indirectly for being done with Gary Hart, but match breaks down into I guess I wouldn't say a pure six brawl, but certainly brawl. Kerry coming out ahead, almost knocks a tooth out on the gang, 2 discus punches, and then finally the gang stumbles back into the corner. That stumble back into the corner, a pretty big deal. And let me grab my phone here. But the action continues in just a second. And certainly he makes Kerry carry his weight, no pun intended. I mean, not a bad match, but Kerry comes back with the claw, tries to crank down on the gang. Not one of the better matches they've had, but also not one of the worst. It's interesting. Kerry can step up when a guy is a little lost or whatever have you. And Kerry sends him into the corner, hits the shoulder, which I think I already touched on, but hits the shoulder. into the corner pad, and Kerry comes back in with only a couple minutes left in the program. And the brawl continues. Obviously, Yang hits several hard shots. They brawl to the outside as well. Referee has a great deal of difficulty in separating them. And eventually, the locker room clears out. Referee goes down when Gang uses a chain on both Kerry and on the referee. And so we close with that being the show closing angle, continuing the feud between Kerry and the Gang. In any event, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.